What's up, everybody? This is the poker coaching study session. Today, we're going to be looking at
Off river decisions out of position on the river, which I said twice. So, hey guys, how you doing? What do we have here so far? We have the hardcores. So this is what I thought I'd look at today. Just a single decision
Mhm.
made after we defend from the big blind. And if this gets a little repetitive or gets a little boring, we can switch up something that we work on more conventionally, like three betting from out of position from the flop or something like that. But I thought this would be a refreshing change and clearly an important decision point. So essentially what would happen in this hand is this is an SRP, cutoff opens, we're in the big blind, we call, get the flop, then the cutoff bets a third, we call, then get the turn, we check out of position, cutoff then bets B75, we call turn, and then we get the river, we check for a third time, and the cutoff B89, which I think is pretty similar to what we're going to see often with population, a B33, B75 on turn, and then either a pot or just below pot on river.
So we're going to get to this point every time, right? With a bet line.
So we are
Yeah.
deep in this hand, and now we have a decision to make on river. And I
And I
thought,
fold this one on the turn, so I'm definitely folding this one on the river.
okay, yeah. So we'll see how this goes. This might not work well, and then we'll just change
All
it.
right, we'll see.
I wanted to do this because I, frankly, am not implementing the checklist enough.
hmm
And so this will allow us to, if we want, refer to the checklist
Right.
of our calling decision criteria whenever we desire. Maybe sometimes we'll stop the time. So, it just allows us to go through, are we beating value or do we have a pure bluff catcher? Do we beat their bluffs? Look at the pot odds. Do we think they're bluffing more than X? And then make a decision. And also mix in Sebastian Wen's call and fold decision matrix, which is new. I've been watching some Carrot Corner stuff, and this is his checklist for river.
Right.
And includes some different interesting perspectives. He's a little bit more specific. What percentage of your opponent's value range do you beat? He talks about identifying your opponent's value range. He talks about, well, this is true across both decision matrices, which is, do you have a pure bluff catcher or are you beating value? The one I like here, which isn't included in Tom Bose's from GTO Wizard, is can you identify natural bluffs? Are there obvious straight draws or flush draws that missed, which you'll triple barrel?
Yeah.
And so yeah, we can integrate this into the process. So what do you guys think? You want to give this a shot for a while?
Yeah, let's go. You're up first.
Okay. Here we go. Okay, so this is a good one. The triple barrel, double barrel queen, reducing his frequency of having a queen. We have an ace here. I think I'm gonna stop the timer for this first one. I think we have a pure bluff catcher though. I don't think this is value beating. But we are blocking his natural bluffs, which is hearts.
But we're not blocking them hard.
No.
What I mean by that is the ace doesn't block any of his bluffs. So that one doesn't count. And the 4 is less important. It's not a prominent feature in his non-ace bluffs. So
we also chop here.
5-4 of hearts, and that's it, because he doesn't have king 4 very often in the cutoff. He has a little bit of it.
Yeah.
So we blocked very little of his hearts.
And so we lose to ace jack, we lose to ace king. We lose to ace 10, but ace
Oh,
9,
we
ace
split with ace
8.
10. We split with ace 10.
We do split with ace 10. Do we?
Yep.
Ace, queen,
Queen,
queen.
10.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And then, yeah, because his ace 10 is kind of fitted on river. We chop with ace 9, ace 8, ace 7, etc. This is a call. Mixing. Very
And
close.
king jack got there on the turn as the natural one. King, king.
Yeah, king.
Surprising.
Huh.
So you guys see how this works?
Yep.
One of you guys want to have a go?
I'll go next. It's me, Barian, and then Mike, because that's the order on my screen.
Okay.
Fold. I don't need anything.
Surprising amount of calling there.
Yeah, but that's against solver.
Yeah, we are going to definitely see some calls that are surprising.
All right, Barian, you're next if you want to go.
Excuse me, guys. Um,
You make sure Varian's ready if he wants to participate.
okay.
Right.
Should we skip ahead to Mike?
Yep. Barian, if you're there and you want to go, just yell out. Okay, but we're going to Mike.
All right,
there's
Mike.
Barian. Yeah, you can talk on the you can talk on the Zoom or you can type it in. Your choice, Barian. It's easier if you talk if you've got a mic and you're ready to go. But okay, good enough. All right, so it's yours. Take a look at the next hand and you just type your answer you want.
All right, I'm looking at chat.
All right. All right, what do you want to do, Barian? You want to call? You want to raise? You want to fold? And just type your answer in the chat. Oh no, we timed out. All right. So
Yeah,
the answer, so interestingly, it only calls. I would have considered raising, but
Yeah.
there we go.
I would too.
All
All
right.
right, we'll get you next time, Barian.
Okay.
We'll go on to Mike.
Yep, hit the showdown. I would have raised. Let's see how bad an idea this was on this particular hand. Results oriented. Doesn't matter. He would have folded. Okay. Mike's up.
All right. Let's make sure I get here. Okay, so we called the flop turn. Here we are on the river. Oh boy. This could be one of those weird ones. I mean, I'm calling this all day in game, which may be a mistake, but go ahead and hit the call button.
I'm calling this all day.
I think it's called.
Yeah, see, there's some folds in there that I'm like, man, I knew it would be kind of tricky.
You beat value. He can easily be betting an ace jack there.
More.
You don't beat ace king though.
Yeah, but does he take this line with ace jack, ace 10? That's the thing.
Yeah, it's valid.
It's gonna cut off.
All right, back to me.
Barian, his mic might be working. I heard a rumble.
Okay.
Is it? Nope. Okay, it's you.
Okay. Huh.
Oh,
Yeah, these get interesting.
It's 9:30. I can't.
He's claiming a queen. He has a queen advantage. We get into this weird pot odds thing, right? When we're calling for a chop. Let's look up solver.
Fold.
Yeah, we get into this really weird, look, it's a massive error. It's just pot odds get weird. Pot odds
Yeah.
get really weird.
Because
Can
you
we-
never win it. You never win. That's it. Is your return
Yeah.
on your investment is you get 10 back. You risk 19 to get 10 back.
I'm curious where our calling threshold is here. I mean, this is a rare spot, but yeah, this is
When you have him beat.
interesting. We just really need to call. Notice we don't shove with excuse me, with the queen. Because what's gonna call with? Only better.
Yeah.
So we need the queen to call here, in theory. Now, do you guys think theory is sound against humans here?
Yes. Humans bluff here, but again, you get, you lose 9.5 chips when you're
But-
wrong.
So
And lose another 20, and you lose you lose 30 when you're right.
and notice that the pot odds in is not obviously taken into consideration, but the pot odds are doubled,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I don't remember how the math works, but yeah, this is a good one to see because I think you're right, Scotty. I think it makes sense to follow.
Yeah. It's miserable. It's no fun. You know,
It
when
isn't, yeah,
when
it's
you
just,
let them
it's
do it.
it's the miserable, sad facts of pot odds.
But it's really fun when you have a queen. All right. I'm gonna do one hand here and then I gotta go.
Okay, let me ask you a quick question. I'll let you go. Would
Okay.
you raise with a queen here or just call
Call.
against humans? Call. Okay.
Call because again, your raise, they don't fold, and there is king queen out there.
Okay. All right, here you go.
Okay.
You had it.
Yep, he very had it. He had very, fold against humans. And and therefore fold against solver some. So fold.
This one might have calls. Yeah, that's, I was
It
thinking
does.
this one.
But it's a majority fold even against solver, and it's a folding against humans.
All right, so I guess Mike?
Hi, hi guys.
Hey,
Can
how
you
you
hear
doing?
me?
You can.
I'm great. Thank you. I'm sorry about delay, and
It's okay.
it's the first time I'm working with the Zoom.
That's fine. Do you wanna try this one? You wanna try one?
Um, sure, why not?
Okay, and welcome to the group, by the way. All right, here we
Thank
go.
you. Thank you very much.
This is your river decision. You have top pair.
Um, um, well, I think solver is going to call some of the times. But in real life, it's in my opinion, is heavily dependent on your opponent. Sometimes I was against some opponents I would call, and against some I would
I
fold.
should have told you you were on a folder,
No,
on a
solver never called
timer.
here. Almost never called.
Yeah, it mixes. Sorry, I should have told you on a time.
This one's a little tougher with the timer because we have to kind of like, because we're on the river and we didn't get here, you know, in a natural sense, we have to kind of, at least for me, my brain is trying to figure
Yes.
out, okay, we check called, here we are. It takes a little bit, a little bit of brain power.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
turn off. Should we turn it off for this session?
Yeah, maybe. And then, you know,
Okay, no timer. Timer free. I think it's my turn. I'm gonna take it. I think we call. Do we shove? Do we raise?
Mm,
Yeah, I think we
I
actually
don't
do
think
shove.
so. What's the point of showing? We don't have queens here. He can have queens here.
Well, we
So
chop
basically
or
show
we,
for split, and I'm not sure we can make him call the queen. I don't think so.
you have a very good point. It's very hard to know what he's gonna call. But you were only beaten by quad queens.
Yeah,
And so because we're only beaten by quad queens, I think we go all in. We don't, we call, good call. He doesn't have anything to call us, so it's like, why do this?
yeah, it's kind of like
So it's fine. Which, okay,
in
Right.
real life against humans and maybe some fish, you might get calls from, say, pocket eights,
Oh,
Right.
definitely. In real
Or
life,
Queen
against some of the
X.
players, I would move in here because they just can't call queen, for example.
Yeah,
This might be a situation of essentially collusion due to rake. Bet
And yes, and rake on low
because
stakes, it's
solver in
very
solver, it doesn't ever call anything when you go all in. That you, it just doesn't, it just calls an ace. So it never actually, in solver, it never calls anything that you beat. So it doesn't make sense, but against humans, I think it makes sense. Okay, Mike, I guess.
okay, sure.
It was interesting.
Okay. Uh, actually block some top pair with our tens, I think. This could be a call. It probably mixes mostly fold with some calls. I am going to say fold.
Yeah. Definitely, sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. Pure bluff catcher, right?
Oh yeah.
it seems that way.
Baron, you want to take one?
Sure, why
Okay.
not?
You arrive with nines. You have a full house.
Um, that's a tricky one. I don't think he's betting 10. So it's kind of like some kind of king aces or 7 for sure can be 10s. And he could have a lot of hands like ace jack, ace queen, probably some jack 9, queen jack. I don't. mm, Hmm. I guess solver sometimes calls here and sometimes fold. But in real life, it's again uh, against rec. I guess I would often fold here.
Fold?
So fold and sometimes call. I would say that way.
Okay.
Always fold. Okay.
Skate, do you know what we're doing?
Hey, what's up? No, I do not.
Okay, let me tell you what's going on. So we're deep in the hand and we're making a river decision. We have defended from the big blind against cutoff open. We called flop. He bet B33 on flop. We called. Turn comes. We check out of position in big blind. He bets a B75. And we called. And now we've gotten to the river. We check for the third time. And this time he bets a B90. B88 to be precise, B84 to be precise. And then we have a decision to make. We can call, or we can raise, or we can fold. So we have a single decision we're working on today, although a tough one.
Yeah.
And I put some files in the chat for kind of the decision matrix that I've been using. That'll help anybody. So they're in there. If you want to take a look. One from Tombos and then one from Sebastian Nguyen, corner. Do you want to see a couple or do you want us to take the next one?
What was the last question?
Do you want to see some other folks do a couple or do you just want to take the next one now? Do you want to dive in?
I could dive in if it's my turn. Yep.
Okay. I think so. Here we go. Good luck, Skate.
TY.
What you run so hot.
Fold. No. Let's think unless he has aces, right? But we're not scared of that. That's only what, 3 combos. Let's raise. Yes. Mike says call. See, we have the boat. They can't have aces. That would suck. Yeah, maybe Mike is right. Maybe some okay. Some calls with some raises. Let's go ahead and raise. I think the only thing would be all in, all in.
Good choice.
Thanks.
I thought we were only gonna be able to call here.
Is that because he has aces too much?
Yeah, and you can have fives and
Yeah,
There's three.
okay, I can see that. We got 5 people in here now. Sutton's here. Hey, Sutton. Sutton, we're working on a river decision today, so.
real
We
quick,
call it, sorry,
when we go all in, what does he call with?
good question.
I guess against solver, it's gonna be calls with some of the king high flashes,
So here, yeah, he's gonna mix with his flushes.
and solver probably can have deuces here too, because solver definitely gonna combat some of the deuces on the flop and keep on betting on turn, I guess.
Yeah,
So he doesn't open deuces a lot in cash, but he does some. You can see it here. Threes though. He's calling 32% of his range. He's mixing with the flushes, right? You can see these are all the flushes.
Flushes, yeah.
And then any full house he's calling, and obviously he's got his beat with the aces. And quads.
and maybe in real life against some like unknowns, they will call more often with their spades. with
Yeah,
their-
yeah, you're gonna get calls, I think, from humans. I mean, this is what, if you were in cutoff. This is what, Peter Clock would call a fortune reversal when the board pairs and you get shoved on. And for some people, that's very hard to adjust to. Because in their head, they've decided they're winning this pot. And so, it's profitable. So. Hey, Mike, you wanna become the caller outer of who's next?
Sure. Who just did that one?
That was Skates.
That was Skate. All right, I got Sutton on the list next.
Sutton, are you clear the betting line that we're working with here? And
Looks to me like cutoff, open, big blind, defend, check bet call, run river.
yeah, it's check bet B33 on flop, check bet B75 on flop, check, make a decision. Here you go. You're off to the races.
Fold.
An easy one. All right, who's next, Mike?
So then I've got I'm at the top of my list, so I'm up.
All right,
Stand by. Okay, ready? Alrighty.
interesting
Ooh,
spot.
we have a good little potential to call here. Let's see. Do we beat value? Most likely not beating their bluffs for sure. And I think we're getting the odds here, especially with the blocker. I think we're gonna call. Yep, call.
Bluff shove.
There's some bluff shoving there. Interesting.
I
Okay.
think, is it? No. Well, you're blocking the flush. Interesting flush shove. Faster.
That happens to me a lot. Next would be Larry.
All right, let's take a shot here. All right, pure bluff catcher. Never beating value. Is he taking this bluff line more than 31% of the time? Probably solver. It's balanced. It's probably right on the line. It's probably 30, this is probably 31% bluffs. Are there natural bluffs? There are natural bluffs around busted spades. However, ace is a big part of his range. His ace king, his ace nine still got all of a sudden a two pair. I think we fold.
I was thinking like Larry that one of the popular bluffs would probably be like offsuit ace, ace of spades. And now that river
Got there.
got there.
Let's quickly look at his top pair. And see. Often that is possessed of the ace of spades.
Got all his gut shots too.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're the spades. Yep. They're the spades. They're the spades. But yeah, that's what gets there. All right, who's next?
Varian.
Let's
Baron,
go.
you ready?
Yes. Mm, feels like a call to me. We can't raise because he definitely have a lot of flashes, and most likely scenario for us it's we're going to split if he calls. So we can't raise for value. I don't think we can fold here. So it's call, I think.
It's an interesting spot. I mean, he knows. He's gonna chop sometimes, I think. He knows that sport was straight.
But well, we can believe we can definitely beat some bluffs.
Yeah,
So
we
I
mix.
no, it's almost always fold. Huh. It's interesting.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because like you were saying, when he knows that they know this, yeah, pretty weird. Nice hand.
Yeah, interesting hand. All right, who's next, Mike?
All right, we got a new member joining here. John is on the list. John, if you're available to use your mic, you can chime in here and take a turn. We'll explain it if you need us to.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm just getting set up here.
Go ahead, Larry, and give him the lowdown.
Okay, sure. So we're working on a single decision on the river, John. What we're doing is we're playing deep into a hand. It is gone. We defend. Pre-flop with the flat, big blind. We get the flop. Button is B33. We call. We get the turn. Then we check out of position. Turn B75s. Is polarizing a bit on turn. We call. We get the there we go. We get the river and we check out of position. He B84s. And we choose to, then we now have a choice to make. And that's where we are. So we're deep in the hand. We're making tough river decisions after a triple barrel.
Okay.
Do you want to give one a shot?
Okay, so I take it where we are right now, we have checked. That's where we are. It's our turn to make a decision, correct?
Yeah, we checked and now he's bet 84%.
Yeah, to be honest with you, perfectly honest with you, just so we know, I'm more of a cash player.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I very seldom have any online experience. So in this particular case, I'm just gonna go ahead and fold. I think the cutoff has way too many.
Well, let me give you a new hand here.
Sure.
So here's your new hand. So you've got third pair here. Blocking the straight.
This particular setup, I will call.
Fold.
Let's fold here. Okay, who is next?
All right, Scotty's back if he's able.
I can do one. I can do one. Before I
Scotty's
start
in.
driving.
Just real
I'm
quick
ready.
here,
Sure.
just before you switch, just so that John like sees this, like John, in this setup, I think one of the reasons, and we just saw this on a hand before you showed up, that we want to lean a lot of call is the ace on the river is probably not going to be great for us. Because a lot of bluffs I think are going to arise from like ace X. Having an overcard is a good bluffing candidate, especially on this like rainbow board. So that's gonna eliminate a lot of hands that we beat, I think. And we saw something kind of similar on the other one. So just like John kind of gets that nugget.
Yeah, that's a good point. So essentially, what we're saying is a lot of his flop barrels and then turn barrels possess ace X, which just got there.
Yeah.
So all of his bluffs now just turn into value.
So a diamond is bad for us on the river. A 7 is pretty good for us on the river because he doesn't have 5-8. He doesn't have 3-5.
Yes, true.
Yeah,
All right, you ready for a hand?
I'm ready.
All right. So this is, yeah,
Yeah, and there was this ace check.
there's his ace.
Sure.
You have an interesting one, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm calling at least 50% versus solver, and versus people I'm calling a lot. So I'm gonna call.
Okay. Do you think this is a pure bluff catcher?
Yes. I don't think he's betting king 9 for value here. I think this is a pure bluff catcher.
Yeah, so do I.
But it's a pure bluff catcher. It has the problem that it has a spade because spades are some of his natural bluffs, as are 10 queen, so that's
Mhm.
not great. But, so it doesn't make it my first candidate bluff catcher, but I'm calling.
Calling correctly. Well played,
Good call.
bastard. Who's
And he
next,
had
Mike?
king jack and I lose. All right. Ouch.
Skate.
Skate.
Yep.
Are you ready, sir?
I am ready. Fold.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, fold. They have all the better
You think
hands,
you're-
better.
Do you think your 9 is important here as a blocker?
Yeah, we are blocking the straight. That's true. We're blocking
But-
jack 9.
His sizing doesn't really say he's got the nut jack 9, does it? But I think, yeah, we mix.
Ooh.
We're gonna see this a lot. Well played.
Thanks.
I
I kind of wanted to call, but like at the same time they have better
Like,
ace X, and so
it
like fold.
prefers this choice, so it makes sense.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just curious how important the 9 is, because he does have jack 9 in his origin range using carrot corner terminology. All right, who's next?
Adam.
All right. Well played. Good fold. Skate. You got
Thanks.
an interesting one.
Who?
Sutton, you're up next
Oh.
if you want to take this.
Okay.
Sorry, I thought I was on there. Do we beat value? No, does not seem likely. Have we induced bluffs? No. Well, maybe. I guess we've checked every node here. We do block the nuts in 9-10. I would just fold.
And what are we up against? It's close. What are you up against? Good fold. That's all. We're just value oriented here. Good fold.
I mean, it's just, I
there's
mean, I
also
think
a-
that like there's a dramatic difference here between playing against solver and playing against humans too. Like,
Agreed.
humans are not gonna, this is
Mhm.
gonna be an under bluff line against humans.
I agree.
Just bet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm really using this as a time to practice going through kind of my river checklist, my
Yeah,
river
that, yeah,
decision tree,
I agree.
and kind of just understand how, just to get used to essentially my mind making that decision criteria. All
Yeah.
right, who's next?
Yeah, and
So
remember,
in that checklist, hold on,
Go ahead, Scotty.
you go first. Okay. In that checklist, which is when you look and say, do I block his natural bluffs? Very with straight, if you block the nuts, you also block the bluffs very often.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. I mean, Fishcake has made that before, and also his sizing wasn't, it wasn't correlated with the nuts.
Mhm.
Let's just make sure that's right. Let's see what, so when he gets here, he's gonna have, obviously, he's gonna mix all sizings, especially with the nuts. He's gonna mix all sizings into that bucket, probably. So the straight is mixing sizings as we would think. And it is, we can see the mix here, right? It protects its blocker sizing in position. Protects its B60, but primarily wants to shove, but you can see it here. You can see it quite beautifully here, if you would permit me. And it uses a lot of B24. So we can see that it's primarily going to use a bigger sizing here. It's going to shove, but it's going to mix in these other sizings, which get this to this interesting spot. And I think, frankly, humans are going to use B84 a lot. Some of them are going to find the shove, but a lot of them are going to use a B84. So yeah.
And generally with humans, the math data analysis we have is when they shove, they have too few bluffs relative to how many they're allowed to have.
Yes,
They're value heavy when they overbet shove.
yes, their bluff to value is nowhere near arithmetically what we expect.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
that was Sutton, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm next.
All right, GL, Mike. Oops, my trackpad is acting funny today and it's disconcerting. So let me see if I can get it to work again.
Okay, this could be a candidate to jam. No, I don't think so. I don't think with the river getting there the way it does. I mean, because we block their bluffs, which is not good, but however, we do block. No, we do block some value. I'm wondering if this could be a jam, but because we have the front door and got here, I think we just fold.
I like your thinking though. I mean, you're thinking outside the box. Do you want to see where our bluff shows come from?
Yeah, I'm wondering if a 10 or a queen helps that if those bluffs are coming from 10x and queen X.
We've seen a
I'm
couple.
gonna make
My thoughts too.
Go ahead, Scotty.
I'm going to make the prediction without being able to see the screen because I'm driving that if it's for the check raise bluffs, they came from hands that had some chance of winning if it went check check. That's my guess.
Oh yeah, it's Hungry Horse mentions that.
Yeah. Let's see if that's true.
So Jack 9, yes. If it goes check check. And 6-4, yes. If it goes check check, we could win with 6-4.
And is that because why? Why? Because we're blocking their sets? Like what's the reason there?
So you have two kinds of bluffs on the river, right? You have donk bluffs, and you have check raise bluffs. If your hand has no chance of winning in the river and it's a good bluff, you're going to donk bluff it because the river goes check check and you lose. If your hand is a hand that has some chance of winning against his pure bluffs on the river, you can afford to check it because sometimes he checks behind and gives up, and then you just win. And sometimes when it goes check check and he has marginal value, you lose, but that's fine. He might have called that. So you can only get to a check raise bluff node with a hand that can win on a check line. Does that make sense? So it's not about it's not about it blocking the set. It's which way you do it. Because you have some bluffs that don't block a set that you just bet out on the river. You have some don't bluff, right? Unless you're checking range on the river, and are we on that card? On our first river node.
We have a little bit of, a very small amount of blocker sizing.
Right. So in that bet node, I bet, and I can't see it, but I'm going to expect that when you get that, you're going to see some value bets and some bluffs, and the bluffs are going to have zero equity bluffs. They can't win at showdown. They are from the bottom.
Yeah, we do have some no made hand. We're protecting our blocker sizing donk with some zero equity blockers.
Right. But of those, do any of them have? I'm looking at the bluffs now. Do
Yeah,
any of them have
so
a
no
pair?
made hand, ace high. So we've got a little bit of donk with like ace queen, which is interesting because that's got some blocker properties probably in there, which is probably driving that. And then 7-5 is prominent. 7-5
But
is
do any
zero
of them have a
equity.
pair? Do any of them have a pair? None of them have a pair, right?
We do have top pair donks too with our,
But top pair, but top pair is value. I'm saying bluffs.
okay, well, I just told you the, which are
Yeah,
ace
I can't-
high, ace queen, and 7-5 are the most prominent.
There you go.
So,
That seems to fit the theory, the heuristic that I've espoused.
yeah, and Hungry Horse talks about it. I maybe some other folks I've heard it from. Essentially, yes, when we have a hand that has marginal showdown and we face a bet, portion of that, in theory, now becomes a check shove. Probably the check shove is going to be from the hands that had marginal value, but then have an important blocker side card to the nuts. Yeah, definitely. And it's very hard to find in game. And, it's going to work against some. It's going to work against regs more than it's going to work against fish. A
Yeah.
fish who decides that his top pair is the best hand is going to have a harder time following than a reg who understands that this is, with humans, very rarely a bluff. The most common card for me would be like, if you had like second pair, let's say an ace 10. And the ace was, and there were 3 diamonds on board, and you had the ace of diamonds, and you check, and he bets small, or he bets half. You're going to check shove at some frequency, blocking the nuts.
Mhm. And blocking 2 pair,
And yeah, I'm blocking 2 pair. Yeah.
and obviously blocking a set. A
Yeah.
particular set.
All right. Who is
Larry.
next? I'm next. Okay. Good fold. 2 pair. This is an interesting spot. Is this a pure bluff catcher or do we beat value? I think we beat aces and kings. We beat value. We call. We mix. Nice hand. He flopped it. He was never used that line with aces and kings. Who's next?
Barian.
I guess I'm next.
Okay, hey Baron, here we go.
I don't know. Doesn't feel like a good hand to call here. I think I would fold most of the time.
Yeah, it's mixing. I think that this is Sutton mentioned it earlier. I don't think this is a good call against humans who triple barrel. Triple barrel is less bluffed with solver. than it is
Especially
with
on that
humans.
type of board, it's just so unusual to see it.
Well, I think it's calling here at some frequency.
Some people bluff in 3 barrels on the paired boards, but not very often, in my opinion, in my experience.
On this low board, I think it's calling at some frequency because he's gonna have. Well, this is not the best example, but he's gonna have like ace jack, ace queen, queen jack. This misses a lot of his range. He's a cutoff, so he has a somewhat more defined range, let's say button. Somewhat denser range than button.
Yeah, I think Larry, I thought this was gonna be more shaded towards call. And like you said, I don't know about the ace X as bluffs here because it has showdown value perhaps, but
Yeah.
like he has like a bunch of king X, queen X, jack X that like it just seems like a spot where he could potentially be over bluffing and he doesn't have a whole lot of interaction with this board in a
Yeah.
meaningful way, you know?
Yeah, that's why I think we got a bluff there. Black freak.
Yeah, like this one I was a little more tempted to call.
Well, the first question is, you're right about ace high, right? He checks back ace high. It's got enough showdown. However, when you get to the king high, that's where he's gonna have some bluffs. And he's gonna have no mid hands all over the place. A lot queen 7, queen 8, where he's gonna have bluffs. But a lot of king high want to bluff. But you're right, ace high does not want to bluff.
But
Very
you know,
much.
I think in real life, if guys have king X that they're bluffing, maybe they bluff on the flop and maybe they pull the trigger on the second barrel, but the third barrel, I think is a lot of give up at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Good point.
yeah, in real life, I think that you're fine to fold because yeah.
Yeah, I think generally
I
this is,
think we should add,
go ahead, Scotty.
I think we should add one more thing to our bluff catching checklist,
Mhm.
which is on a hand that you're considered bluff catching with, you say, do I beat any of his value? We should say, do any of his bluffs beat me?
True, that
Because
is,
there are times, Right.
that is that's part of the flow chart that Tom Bose built from GTO Wizard.
okay, he does have that there. Okay. Because I think we need to beat I think to bluff catch, we need to beat all his bluffs.
True. True.
Yeah.
That is,
And
yeah,
those
I
pocket
think
threes didn't.
in theory, if we don't beat bluffs, we don't have a bluff catcher. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you join late, I put these 2 files in the chat if you want them. Okay, who's next?
All right, John is next.
John is next. John, are you ready, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here we go. Huh,
Okay, hang on just a second. I'm having some technical issues.
it's all right. Take your time.
While John is having technical decisions, read me the board.
Uh,
I can do it while you're working on it.
yeah, I got. let's
Jack
see,
of
we-
hearts, 6 of spades, 2 of spades, 8 of clubs, 10 of spades. We possess in our combo 10 of hearts, 10 of diamonds. We rivered a set where a straight is available and a flush is rivered.
Right.
He does possess queen 9 in his combos.
Yeah. Yep. All right. I seize it.
I would go ahead and call.
I don't think we get to raise on this texture. What do you guys think? This is an interesting one. I don't think we get to raise in this texture. When this card brings in, so it brings in all his front doors. Brings in potential bluff that he B75s with when he gets the gutter on turn. Yeah, I think this is a call. This is a very interesting spot. Good job. What?
Yep.
Does it raise it? Does it raise at all?
No.
No.
It's pure
Okay.
call.
Okay.
Well played, John. I just want to make sure that let's just look at his origin range. To use carrot corner terminology. Let's make sure that I'm right about it. So cut off. Yeah, he's got down to queen 5. He's got jack 7. So this is the range that he's starting with. Okay, who's next?
All right, Arturus has joined us. So Arturus, just a quick recap of what you're gonna get a river decision here. And we've gotten to the river by calling a cutoff raise, then check calling the flop, then check calling the turn. And now we are on the river after checking and facing a B80 size type bet.
Taurus, you want to give it a go?
Okay.
All right, man, good luck.
Interesting float on wherever of turns. On what turn?
There
Not
it is,
float, but
queen nine. Okay, here we go.
no idea how to even comment. 9 is okay, 10 is better from one pairs. Worse when e6 goes out, I think. Doesn't call.
Fold?
I think so.
Yeah. Interesting run out.
Yeah, I thought this turn calls. Ace 9 I wasn't sure, but you helped me.
Where is our call? I want to know where our calling threshold is here.
Ace 10.
What do we need to call on this texture after this action? And I have no idea. But we have the technology. So ace 10 must have a better blocker. The 10 must be a more important blocker.
Blocks the king 10, blocks
Yeah.
the 9-10.
9-10 and king 10, yeah. So it's
Yeah.
it's blocking two combos instead of like one, yeah.
Yeah.
Ace 10, yeah, the 10 is the important blocker. The 10 is the crucial blocker here.
Yeah.
Where we're beginning to mix. And then once we get up to two pair, you can see it. Another way to look at it is down here, right? So we can see even some two pair are folding, like ace 8 out. Ace 8. out.
Wow.
Ace 7, no dice.
What's that top range two pair? Was that ace queen? Did I see that ace queen? No, where it folds.
Oh, where it folds here?
Uh,
Here?
in the middle or towards the top end, the right side, where there's some mixing.
To
It
the right.
mixes.
Am I moving the right way?
Yep, keep going all the way to the one
Yeah,
on the right.
There's the ace queen.
Yeah, go to where there's blue, the furthest blue. Right there. What's in there? Okay, that's ace 8.
It
So
was
something-
Ace Queen, I saw like 3% frequency.
Maybe
Fold.
it's, yeah, I'm not sure with that. It must have to do with back.
When
flush
you-
draws.
Mhm.
All right, Taurus, go ahead.
Then if we click on strategy, we can click on Ace Queen. Like he's
You
wondering.
wanna look at the strat and look at ace queen?
Yeah. Yeah, you see. We need a spade.
Yeah, okay. See, that's what I was wondering. Look at the top two pairs folding almost pure with those suit combos.
Yeah,
Ace Queen with a heart and spade is indifferent.
it's interesting.
Are any of you guys folding two in game? Are any of you guys folding two pair here?
And I would say no.
Yeah.
It's very
So
hard
the
for me.
answer to the question, do we beat value, is yes.
With what hand?
Yeah.
Ace
Question,
queen.
the question is, how
Yeah.
likely am I to get to this river with two pair? I mean, I guess ace 7, but I'm probably almost never getting to this river with ace jack or ace 8. Because I'm gonna play check raise on flop. And I think most
Yeah.
guys will. So I just don't think I get to the river with a whole lot.
Don't we have full frequency Ace 7? Full weight?
7s and ace
But-
7 are the ones that I could, and then you don't really like it because the flush completed and the straight completed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little bit, I think it's helpful to think about a particular opponent and what they're doing. Like if a guy's just never bluffing, it's tough.
yeah,
Do you
this
check
is
Ace
very
with
player
7 on the
dependent.
flop?
Know your customer, KYC. Say it again, Arturus?
Sutton, where does your Ace 7 go? Where do you drop it? You don't get to a river with Ace 7?
We get here with ace 7
Yeah, but okay.
and we fold pure. It's very, this is a complex. it's a
I mean, you gotta-
complex training exercise.
Yeah, I mean, like you have to think like against humans, how many humans are just loving getting called on turn with two pair on a board on a turn card that completes the clear front door straight and open-ended straight draw. Like how
And
many
flush.
right? Like how many guys are now in the cutoff like, you know what? I've got ace eight here. Let me bet again on river. Like I think a lot of guys in real life are like, all right, I'm just gonna check back. I'm just gonna check back with this two pair. So
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very KYC, right? This is like, these kind of river decisions definitely. I mean, I kind of added that here to this one. Is this villain under bluffing here? If the villain is unknown, what's population doing? It definitely makes sense to KYC a little bit. Understand who you're playing against.
Yeah, and I've been in a mode or it's sort of trying to get more thin value versus population. And if
Right,
I had
and-
a jack, I would think about trying to get thin value here. If I had a 7, I would think about trying to get thin value.
And you would never use this size, right? You would never be 80 here.
It would probably be more like B60, yeah.
Yeah, you go with a small sizing, which is true. Cause I think you could have a lot of big blind guys. Turn went big, so I might maybe like queen jack with like the queen of spades or something. You could conceive of they make two pair on the river. And if you bet this big sizing, they fold. But if you go smaller, they're like, I made two pair, man. I made two pair. Like two pairs hard to get. Like, and you go smaller and get some value there.
Scotty,
Yeah.
if
What
you-
is so,
Go ahead,
so
Scott.
what does in position do with his ace king on the river, both with the king of spades and without the king of spades? That tells us a lot about not how our opponents play, but where the wizard strategy is coming from. Because if he's only betting if he doesn't bet his ace king offsuit without the king of spades, then that's a big part of our value target. He doesn't even bet it with the king of spades very often. So there you go. That's why we can't call two pair, is he doesn't bet his one pair.
Yeah. This is Solver is played this a billion times and.
Yeah.
It knows intimately the ranges in which it is competing against.
And so this is where our two pair if he's not betting his good aces, his best aces, then our two pairs are we lose so much of, we don't beat value. I'm done talking.
You're right. I mean, so he only gets here with his top pair that get here are just ace king. He never bets, but here is the more interesting part. His two pair that get here. Just like Sutton was mentioning, do not bet. He was talking about humans aren't going to bet this, but Solver's not going to bet it either.
And he doesn't even bet it even when he has the blocker spade.
He's checking two pair and top pair 98% of the time. He
Wow.
even is
Okay.
indifferent with value betting with a set.
Wow.
So his sets of aces check back.
Yeah.
His jacks bet, but his sets of aces, which are the largest component of his range.
could we see a
check back.
turn strategy for cutoff?
Sure. We want to look
On
at
the
the
turn.
on the turn, yes. Turn strategy for cutoff.
I'm more aggressive than the solver on river in here. In position.
So I
I'm
think,
not checking back.
well, there's a flush on board, right? Correct?
Flush
Yep,
gets
there's a flush on
turned,
board
turn
and a
flush.
straight.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
see here. Yeah, I think the reason for that is because obviously the big line is gonna call with a lot of their suited combos, so that gets there.
And also the solver out of position in our position, big blind, is protecting top of range, right? It's going to check raise plenty of flushes on the turn, but it's not going to check raise all of them. It's going to protect, especially when in position is aggressing at high freak. Arcturus,
Mhm.
I'm gonna go to big blind and see if we actually,
Yeah.
how often we do check back our flushes. So filter. Yeah, you could see it. So the very top range flushes, we're checking back. We're just calling, we're not check raising 3 out of 4 times. So our range is protected.
We should probably call even more in game, to be honest. It depends on the player.
Yeah, it depends on, I mean, it depends on, I mean, if you have somebody who's not capable of folding top pair. I mean, last night, for instance, I was playing and I defended from the big blind versus UTG. I flopped trip queens at like queen 9 or something. He bet small. And I'm like, I fast played it and shoved river. And I check raise flop, big bet turn, shove river for about pot, and he timed down, but he called. He wasn't going to fold his aces. He was not mentally prepared to fold his aces, and he gave me a stack, even though I was playing incredibly face up.
Yeah.
So, all right, who's next?
All right, that was Arturos. Who was that?
Yeah.
Now, Taurus.
Okay, Scotty.
Okay.
Scotty, can you see the screen right now?
I can see the screen. I can see the screen, and we are. Is it this one that we're at? Okay.
No, it
What happened?
is
Oh, next
Okay.
one.
this one.
Okay, it's this one. 19 Jack and Queen. With block, I'm going to. I may raise this. I have to decide. I'm never folding, obviously. So let me pull over and now look just a little closer. Okay. So I lose to ace king and I lose to the heart. I have the heart blocker.
This is a tough one.
Yeah. I haven't decided whether I'm raising this or not. Well, yeah, I'm considering just calling. I'm just calling.
Do you think you're going to have bluff shoves?
Yeah. But I want the ace of hearts as my blocker, not the king. I
Yeah,
really wanted that
yeah.
as my blocker there.
Good point. All right.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we get
All right,
some.
let's see. Yeah.
All right. Well played. Well played.
Yep. Yeah, and so there's some all in there. Okay.
Larry, Larry, you mind? I was trying to get your attention. You
Well,
mind
that's a hard
showing those 2 bluff charts again so I could do a quick screenshot?
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Oh yeah, if you don't mind showing the 2 bluffing charts, the ones that you posted before.
So they are files in the chat. So if you go to the very top chat.
Yeah, I can't see the top chat because I joined in late as always.
Okay. Okay, you can't get it. Okay, sure. Here you go. Here's the Tombos one. Let me know when you have it.
Okay, done. Perfect. Thank you. Or
No
TY.
worries. No worries. Who's next, Mike?
Scotty, we go to skate.
Skate.
Perfect timing. So
Oh, wait. Sorry, we don't
Yeah.
know the result. Oh, bastard.
oh
What did he have?
He had the nuts. He had the
All
ace king.
right. All right, I didn't raise.
G-
Woo-hoo!
GC.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one. You just yeah. You just river trips.
Okay, I remember trips. I am definitely, I am not worried, about the king. Let's go. Okay, it's either gonna be, should we go all in or raise 52 here? We don't want to get a king to fold. Will they fold it at the stack depth? They probably will. So let's raise 52, 5-2. Final answer.
Just a call.
Just a call? Oh, dear.
Welcome to the world, the weird world of
Yeah,
the
I think
jack-
his line just kind of, when he bets B80 with the jack pairing.
Yeah, you're right.
he
You're
was-
right.
that
You are
it's
ve-
either
you are
bluffing
very
or
right.
nuts.
let's see where our raise threshold is.
I think while you're looking at raise threshold, I think there's an idea here, which is his bet on the river is polarized, right? And
Not
against
as much
polarized-
as, yeah, it's interesting. It's not a line that solver takes a lot, but it is a line that, humans take a lot.
Right. And if it's, what I mean is this, it's not B50. So if you define it as a polarized bet, maybe we should call it a semi-polarized bet. But if it's polarized, then it's a lot of, and we saw this in the two pair example where there was a flush on board. It's a lot of nuts and nothing, meaning he bets his bluffs and he bets his flushes there, and he doesn't even bet two pair. He doesn't even bet every set. So that's how polarized the bet is. It doesn't even include sets 100% of the time when there's a flush and a straight on the board. Therefore, your response against a polarized bet is to only raise with bluffs, is to be hyperpolarized.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's
don't
look at
raise
how
the
much
middle
he's using this. So he does use this at some frequency,
Yeah.
4%. This is like to the very top
Yeah,
on this texture, but he does use it.
yeah.
And then where is our raising threshold? So let's just ignore bluffs. Let's just go to raising threshold. So Jack 9 is raising. So trips, Jack 9, what's the 9 blocker? What was your combo? Your combo was ace jack. Ace jack maybe has some issues blocking bluffs. Or we like, yeah, like we want him to have more ace X that he's bluffing maybe. I'm not sure. But so like with trips, like we'll just focus on trips. Like we're always, our boats are always raising. But with trips, it gets super complicated. Ace jacks are calling, so ace jack must have block properties that we don't like. We don't want to block something.
But the other problem with
Go ahead.
betting,
sorry.
the other problem with like raising the ace jack is like, what's gonna call us that's worse?
Yeah,
I mean, like,
that is,
I don't even-
maybe it's more about that. Maybe it's
Because-
blocking the value that calls.
like ace, like he's not gonna have jack X, like unless it's king jack, and then we're smoked. And does he have like, is he gonna call with ace king or king queen? Does he like even have that in this bet size on river? I don't know. And
No,
it just feels like we fold all of his misdraws and bluffs, and then when he calls, we're just toast.
We just don't, we're not getting him to call enough that's worse to make
We're
it
blocked.
profitable.
Is it because when we have an ace, we're blocking some of his value that he would make this bet with on the river, like ace, king, or aces?
That's a
Yeah.
good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
that we beat.
Yeah.
So we're blocking, I think you got it, Mike. I think we're blocking. So his 2 pair. Not pair. Well, there is no 2 pair here because it's a paired board. Well, it's all 2 pair. But we must be blocking something that he value bets.
Like what's his
That we
top pair?
beat.
His top pairs betting. What are his top pairs that he's betting on the river here?
Ace king is in there. Ace king, king queen, a lot of king queen.
Yeah,
Okay.
am I too aggro? Is it just me like the only one wanting to raise? But I mean, the middle pair in theory, right, is better for us. So I was trying to get I was, calling that didn't even cross my mind. I was trying to target a king, but this doesn't make any sense going back.
It's we're getting, I mean, so just keep in mind that solver theory and solver strat is on a knife's edge, right? You remove one blocker and everything changes.
Yeah, and I think if you in real life, I think this raise size could easily get called by king 10 maybe. Guy just can't fold top pair. King 10. He's like, I'm not folding top pair, especially when the flush draw bricks. It's like I gotta get sticky with king 10, king queen, ace king, aces. Like if he can't fold those things and can never find the fold button, then I think that we can. But I'm gonna bet, I would just guess that I would think that like the ace king is, since it's close down the edge of betting, the betting checking threshold here is probably just gonna fold if we raise in the solver.
There's just not enough that calls us.
Next
the-
week,
the-
when we do the deep dive into the ace queen offsuit hand from a week ago, you're going to see that's exactly why the suits arranged they were the way they were, which was blocking which was the suit that blocks some of his calls is the one that doesn't do the raise.
Yeah, this is an example.
Yeah.
We're blocking the calls.
Well, so with this being said, do we raise any other jacks? Or just pure
We
call?
do. We saw that. We do raise other jacks, but we
Okay.
just don't want to have the ace. It wants our side card to be like a 9 or like an 8.
9, 10, 8, something
Yeah.
like
It doesn't want to block the ace.
that. Okay, good.
You know
good.
what?
I'll look at it again.
When deep diving into blockers and blocker strat is important, but I think it's less important, frankly, against humans. But we're working in the solver and we're studying the solver, so of course we're going to talk about it. But when you're playing with the guy drinking a bud at your live 1-2 at the Hard Rock, it's less important, frankly.
And the reason it's less important is that that some of the things the solver will fold, he will call, and therefore it's not a blocker to that. Or is it just there's so much more money to be made from bigger mistakes that they make that don't concentrate on these knife edge things, which is the reason that it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, this
Mhm.
is strategy on a knife's edge. Super
Okay.
sensitive.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
No, and just to add to that, as I've heard through many videos and pros, that the blockers really don't matter much at lower stakes.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it does. Care Corner, Peter Clark will sometimes reprimand folks when he's in a coaching session when they go deep into blockers and he's looking at an NL100 hand. He's like, no, doesn't matter yet. But we all focus on blockers because we study in the solver. So obviously solver's making significant decisions based on its blockers. So we think about them, and of course we're trying to play against the solver. But I think for me, it makes sense to level set when we play against humans and understanding the functionality and the value of our blockers doesn't matter as much when we're playing for real. So anyway, who's next?
All right, Adam is up.
All right. You've arrived with top pair.
This seems like we clearly could be beating value. It doesn't seem like cutoff should have all that much. This board seems better for us. I'm gonna assume they have a lot of like maybe hands, king 10, queen 10 type hands that would be bluffing. So this is like definitely a call. I kind of wonder if it's strong enough to get any raising. I think I'm just gonna call.
You think you're beating beating a value? Do you think you're
I think
beating
king jack,
Yeah, king jack, queen jack.
king jack, queen jack. I
I
mean,
don't
we
know
have,
if they use the sizing of solver, but it would make sense they would at some frequency.
I
It is
mean,
weird that he took the sizing when the board paired and you have 5x in your range.
yeah, like the board does seem definitely better than us. I mean, we can lose. We can lose to aces, kings, queens.
Yeah.
He can have, I think he can have sets of sixes. He can have sets of jacks. There's only one combo. I just think that there's like a lot of potential bluffs here that he could use
Yeah,
in this spot. And like,
Yeah,
I think
it's
the big turn sizing probably filters a lot of the 5x in our range out. So I don't think he's as worried about this 5 on the river.
it's a good point.
And like, as far as like, what's the strongest hand that we get here with, like, this has to be at one of the strongest hands because, me personally, I'm probably looking to check raise if I have 6s or 5s on the flop. Like if I have 5, 6, I'm check raising. And so it's hard to come up with a hand that I have that is a lot better than this one. So I'm definitely calling. I'm calling.
And yeah, I mean, then we can get into talk about MDF, right? I mean, so your MDF here is 50% around. It's a little bit lower, but at 75%, it's 50%. So this clearly falls within MDF.
Yeah, I mean, I would be willing to bet. Like, I could put this in my check raise range on the flop sometimes too. Like, it is that strong. Like, this is very strong.
Yeah.
So I'm calling.
Yeah, pure call.
No raises though. No raises.
Not good enough.
No.
Let's see what he's got. Bastard.
So after you talk about it, it starts to make more sense on why you should take certain action here.
Yeah,
I mean, I think if we look at his range here, like, and I 100% think in live games, like you're gonna see king jack, queen jack, like jack 10 sometimes. Maybe not for these bet sizes, but like guys get top pair, they see this low card run out, and they haven't gotten raised yet, and they're like, I mean, now that said, I think a lot of times some guys, like some guys with queen jack and jack 10 will check, but on river. But yeah, I think that this is just.
So if we just look at top pair, let's just focus on top pair here. Like he's not even value betting this. We're looking at his imposition river choice. These are his top pairs. So we are beating enough value here because he's betting. He just has to, in theory, he just has to bet this much king 10. And notice it's the purple, it's not the orange, right? So he's got some in there that he's using the size with. And then we're calling for a chop a lot.
Yeah, I mean, well,
but that's enough for us to call. It's enough.
But
and
so
then we also have to add his bluffs, right?
Yeah, but I think in real life, we're probably looking at fewer bluffs and more overvalued king jack, queen jack.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. He's got all this bluff region that we're beating. So we're going to call in the solver, but then you're right. It dovetails nicely what we should be doing in reality because people are going to overvalue.
Yeah, and it's important again to pay attention. Like if this is a guy that like is only opening 5% of hands and he's just going like bet, bet, bet. It's a little bit different decision.
Agreed. All right. Who's next?
Mike.
Mike, you next?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Oh, interesting spot.
Yeah. Just another situation where I think we just got a call here instead of raising. Yeah, it was just a pure call. No, there's considerable amount of jamming.
Yeah, you're splitting. Let's see what he's got. Bastard.
We're getting smoked on our results.
Well, also it's important to keep in mind, we only have to win over 32% of the time for this to be a profitable call, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that part still for me blows my head when I think about it sometimes.
We're running bad in our results.
Yeah, we are.
Larry.
I'm next. All right. Deep breath before I face the gauntlet here. I don't think we get to just call here. It is again, it's super sus that he sees the board pair, but the run out, it's a runner, which is unusual that would get there with he knows 4-3 is in our range. Yeah, shut up.
He's gonna have Jack.
Yeah, we're just beating enough value to shove this. Who's next?
Arian.
Barian, are you ready?
And John is after Berrien.
John, are you ready, sir?
Okay,
Here you go. You've got a pure, well, I'll let you decide the class of your hand.
wow, boy, tough one.
So the decision matrix that we're using here is the first question to ask is, do you have a pure bluff catcher or are you beating value?
I honestly don't think we're beating value, to be honest with you. I just don't see that there.
Okay. Do you beat his bluffs?
Well, to me, I can't really see any bluffs in there.
Okay, well, it is the solver, so it is gonna have bluffs, just like for instance, a good bluff here for the solver would be ace of spades, jack, or ace of spades, 9, blocking the nut flush. So it's gonna have bluffs. I'm not saying humans do. Humans, this is probably an underbluff. We know this is an underbluff line with humans. But against solver, there are gonna be the appropriate bluff to value ratio.
Yeah, just going off just because of how I play, I think I just gotta fold.
Okay, I think that's fine.
I think humans do find the ace of spades bluff.
All right, good point. Good point. Good fold, John. Good fold. Let's just confirm that I'm not FOS and he's using the ace of spades bluff here sometimes. What is going on? Study the spot, please. Let's. My trackpad may be dying. Change move. Try this. Control R. Guys, this may be the end of our training session.
I know one person who will be very happy if this is the end of our training session today.
Who's that?
My juggling partner, Katrina. So
Oh,
when
she's
she
getting a little
got-
tired of this?
We're driving to LA today. And she said, "Are you gonna do this for 3 hours?" I said, "No, it's only another 2 hours." She goes, 2 hours? So we'll see.
Okay, we had to tell her that Larry apologizes, but it appears my mouse is working again, although it looks like I'm gonna have to replace my trackpad, which is horrible because I just replaced my keyboard 2 weeks ago. Planned obsolescence, gentlemen? YouTube, if you think there is actual planned obsolescence, please like and subscribe and comment below. Okay, it's back now.
What does that word mean?
It means that it's a
It's not a
concept.
real word. Obsolescence is not a word. The word he's
No.
looking for is obsolescence.
Okay, thank you for correcting me.
You're welcome.
So would you like to, okay, so who's next?
That was, who did the last hand?
John,
John? Arturus.
Okay, Artorias, what do you want to do here?
We beat value, we wanna probably play for stacks or like repop action. I guess if he had better, he's also probably overbetting a lot or just playing for a bigger sizing. This probably is a bit weaker on the solver. And I don't know, we make it. I don't know, let's jam or 50%.
Up to you, sir.
Just click whatever. I don't know, let's do red. Red.
Just call.
but-
Yeah, we just
So-
don't, I mean, the way to think about it maybe is that we just don't he doesn't have anything that can call us when we raise. He doesn't have enough that calls that we beat when we raise. So the solver So trips
If
isn't
he
good
would-
enough.
Yeah, if he would have called us, he wouldn't have bet. That's the thing about the polarized thing. Everything in the middle that he would bet and call, he has chosen to check behind. He's betting when he's betting the nuts and nothing. I'm
Nuts or nothing
exaggerating.
is kind of a common theme we're seeing today with this line. So here we are. He bets. What is our raising threshold? So our raising threshold is clearly not trips, right? So we can see here, trips are mostly, so we have some shoving involving probably some kind of unblocking action, but mostly we're going to be just calling trips. Straights on this board, on this paired board, are not good enough. This is the turnaround. Usually with straights, like we fast play straights often because we're unblocking value. But when the board pairs, that's a bad thing. So we just call the straight. So really, our pure value shoves start with the king six, not even with the nines. The nines aren't good enough. We need the king six. We need a king X flush. I'm sorry, full house to actually shove.
I bet tens to do it though. Take a look. I bet pocket tens
I don't know.
do
Maybe tens
do it.
don't get here.
Because king nine, it's
No, tens mix. Tens mix.
wow. Okay.
Okay, who's next?
All right, is Varian back?
Yes, I'm
All
back.
right. Varian,
Baron, you are presented with this combo.
King 4. That's an interesting. Hard to say, to be honest. I think most of the time against regular opponent, I would fold here.
Yeah, I think there's
Maybe sometime call.
That's a fold. Okay. Who is next?
Scotty.
Scotty, are you ready?
Ready.
Nice hand, ma'am, sir. Ma'am or sir.
Sir.
Well, you got quite an interesting hand.
Raise.
What size would you like?
Jam.
Yep, sure.
Without hesitation. I'm not worried about ace king. What did he call me with?
Kings.
That'll get him.
One of the few
That'll-
ways to get all the solvers stack. It doesn't happen very often.
Exactly.
I hope you're
That'll-
going to a conference in Vegas and you get to play.
Yeah, no, we're going to LA, but I'm gonna say that'll teach him to bet small on the flop.
Exactly. Who's next?
Did Arturus, did he go before Scotty?
Yes.
Okay, then it's Skate.
Skate. Are you prepared to face the gauntlet, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
Fold. All right. Let me just double make sure. Go ahead. Yeah, I think fold. Let's fold. Do we have any calls?
We're mixing, but mostly folding. You got it right. I'm gonna say this is right. I would say that fold is pure. I mean, it's good. I sometimes get a little carried away with rivering value, rivering showdown, and call too much here. This is a good fold.
Okay,
See why?
All right, who's next?
Sutton is gone, so Mike.
Mike, are you ready, sir?
Yep.
Here we go.
Okay. Do we have any other choice? I suppose, no, never mind. It just feels like it's just a call.
On the paired board.
Yeah.
Well played. Well played. I think I would have gotten carried away.
Do we, against population, can we do something different?
He has so many boats.
No, because they just wouldn't call with anything worse.
Yeah. Well, that, I think that is very KYC, right? Anybody else might have some other opinions in chat?
I mean, if
Yeah,
even maybe the loosest of fish, are they gonna call with 8-9? Are they gonna call with
of course. I mean, some people are going to
10-9?
call with there's some people that, as we mentioned, call all in on the turn with middle pair and, possibly draw. But here, somebody with trip nines, they're definitely going to call a shove.
Yeah, this is a tough spot. I think I would mostly just call.
Larry.
Okay, let's look and see where our value raise threshold is here, and then I'll move on. The gauntlet. So what do we need to raise here? A couple ways to look at it. Look at breakdown. Not much. We need the boat, pretty much. A little bit with straights, but
There's really no polarization of it either. There's no bluffs.
oh, that's a good point. Let's look at it again.
It feels like it turns its trips into the bluffs.
A little bit it does. But it wants to block the
with the king
straight.
blocker to the straight, I
It
guess.
wants to block the straight, yeah.
But
then it gets very interesting because it's like, it's got 76% equity, right? Which you can see in the lower right-hand corner,
Yeah.
but the blocker is so important here. Interesting.
And you do have bluffs. They were just so low frequency. They were a little bit of the left.
Yeah, they were a little bit. Who's next?
Larry, did
Oh, that's me. Oh, sorry. You already said that. Sorry. Okay. We're gonna see this every once in a while. He just doesn't do this very often. Blocking the straight. Flush is there. No. No, thank you. Mix. Overfolds population. And he has a bluff. Why does he get to bluff with that? Whatever.
You folded?
I folded correctly, but he had a bluff. But let's not do what's also in it, shall we? So who's next?
Arian?
Barry, are you ready?
Yes.
This is a very interesting spot, Barry.
It's interesting one because I don't know. I guess it's for sure it's at least call and probably a raise, but I'm not sure about the raise against a live opponent. I don't know. Against some people, it's definitely a raise. Against others, like thoughtful regular, you just can't raise for value here. Eileen, I think I think I would go all in here against Solver.
Yeah, it's in there.
It's in there.
Yay.
Oh no, it's raise, but it doesn't raise all in. Mostly it raise 55%.
So I'm gonna give my
Interesting.
iCaxton Jonathan Jaffe podcast lecture. So iCaxton has this podcast, like if you Google Jonathan Jaffe iCaxton podcast, it'll come up. And he talks about how we, as humans, should not get too caught up in sizing frequency, in solver. It just doesn't really matter that much against humans. Because
yeah,
the
it-
variability in his range and the variability in what his internal calling threshold, you don't know. So I like your shove. People are gonna have a lot of problems folding ace king.
Yes, some people.
So I
Some
think
people
this is,
will even call king, I don't know, king 6 here, and others will be able to fold king 7, for example.
so I like your play. And he folds ace king. So. Who's next, Mike?
John,
Yes, sir.
John, here we go.
Just real quick, before this meeting wraps up, towards the end, when this is winding down, I do have a couple of questions about Wizard, if maybe one of the experts could help me.
Well, I'm not an expert, but I'm happy to help. I'm happy
Okay.
to. So,
Okay, on this hand,
but Mike, John, to give you kind of a timeline, we'll definitely have time for that. Why don't we're probably gonna do this for another like 15 minutes and then we're gonna take a break. And then we'll do some hand histories. And do you want to just, maybe we can answer your questions in the break or right before we start
yeah,
hand
that,
histories?
yeah, that sounds great.
Okay, cool.
Okay,
And Larry, you might not be an expert in, but you are our
hey,
expert.
listen, you guys will be better than
Yes.
me, so.
I'm not an expert. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
He-
oh,
he's
listen,
lying. He's an expert.
to me, I know we're up against the solver, but for me, this is just a straight up fold.
Yeah, I think we will. Oh, this is a weird hero call. We don't have to get caught up in this. This is like Solverland. We're not gonna dive in here because it's gonna involve blockers and it's gonna involve this and that. And I think this is ultimately a good fold against humans. It has a lot to do probably with what he bets on flop. Cause he probably checks back a lot of ace king and ace queen on this texture. And so. Because he bet in this trainer. He's not as full of ace king and ace queen as humans are. So I think your fold is good. So. Who's next?
Arturus.
A Taurus. Arturus, you're running good, man.
Let's go. Oh, let's jump, sorry. Let's go.
Fold.
Yeah, so we're gonna see this because there's a certain portion of his range that we want to get calls from with the very top of our range, but. Like ace queen, king, king, yeah. Humans are gonna have a lot of problems folding this. I think your play's good. Who's next?
Scotty.
Scott, are you still with us, sir?
I would like a full house, please.
I can only offer you trips. Is that acceptable? Call, nice call.
Scotty don't need no time bank.
That was
No, I
like
can-
what?
No, I can call and lose in seconds.
Alright.
That was less than a second.
Gate.
Skate.
Oh, perfect time.
Are you ready?
I was born ready. Fold. It's not as good as Scotty's, but see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you mix.
Ooh, mix with king 4. Well, fold was in there, but
Yeah, I
that's
think
the
you can
most-
overfold here. I think your fold
It's because of the spades breaking off, I think.
Yeah,
and-
well, this
and
goes
the
back to-
backdoor.
True.
Yeah, probably there's some Sebastian land in here. Can you identify natural bluffs? And yeah, there are, but we certainly mixes in. Well, we could see a lot that bricked. Okay.
Yeah, just real quick, check the suits of king four and how it will change if you have
Sure,
king four of hearts.
it's a good question.
I hate getting bluffed.
Andrew Broca said something about that once, which was, I thought, interesting. He said, king four, we want the king four. There we
No,
go.
no real change.
Yeah, it's a good question though. Broca said the goal of poker is to not get bluffed. The goal of poker, you are gonna get bluffed and it's just part of the game. But you're right, it's sucks, especially when they show. People who
Yeah.
play live here, how often, I'm just starting to play live. I mostly have played online. How often does the jerk show his bluff? Actually, it's not a jerk. He gives you free information and that's good. How often do people actually show their bluff live?
Well, actually, not often. Some people, of course, the ego and if they have some kind of you call the clock on them on hand before, it might happen. But no, for the most part, they are not going to show.
Yeah, and you can't know, right? You can't know how often they show their bluff because you only know when they do.
Yeah, I guess my
Yeah.
question was, do people show bluffs?
There are
Sometimes.
certain things you can do to induce them to show, like saying, for example, good bluff, or of course, can you show me? But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The thing that gets someone to show a bluff most often is when someone else at the table, not the person in the hand, says, "Come on, show the bluff."
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does work.
So when they're there with friends, it happens more.
Um,
All right.
all right,
Very true.
who's next?
Sutton is gone still. So Mike,
Mike, good luck.
thank you, sir.
Mike, you're in a tough spot.
Yeah. All right. Will they call with worse is the question. We beat value. Will they call with worse? Will they call with ace king? Will they call with 9-8? Will they call with ace queen? I suppose if you start piling those in, they're not going to call with them, I don't think. Well, maybe they do, because this could be a good bluff for us, a bluff candidate. Maybe this mixes between call and raise. So with that in mind, the solver will probably fold a lot of the stuff we think they would call with. So let's just call.
Yeah, it does mix a little raise, you're right. That must be a value raise. What's your equity with this combo here? So we are raising, let's see which trips let's look at. Well, full houses, we don't have to think about. Trips, low freak, but it is in there. But it mostly wants to call. Which combo do we have?
7-9.
Yeah, it wants to do it. Yeah, I guess. We can kind of, this is interesting because you can kind of see how much visually that bit translates to 10%. But what's our equity is my question I had, which I got carried away with. So that's significantly more when we're unblocking the front door, busted front doors. We have a lot more equity. That's just, I guess, just sometimes we want to do it. It's an interesting spot. Okay, who's next?
Did we go to Larry?
Oh, by the way, here's your result. Bastard.
Look at this.
I know. Okay, so let's see how I'm gonna get wrecked. All right, I have a pure bluff catcher. Can I identify natural bluffs? Well, it's a rainbow board. That's not good. Straight got there on turn, which he has. He has plenty of ace 10. He has all the ace 10. I think we just fold. Call. No, yeah, okay, let's see what he bluffed us with. There it is.
Bastard.
Why king four is a call and king four is a fold and king deuce is a call? What king four is?
And also he folds king 7, king 8, king 9. It's a very strange balance.
We're mixing in that. So we're
Oh.
mixing here.
Maybe he bluffs 5-4 if he opens it? I don't know.
I guess sevens and eights, we block. If we had king 7, king 8, we're blocking bluffs like 6, 7, 7, 8.
Yeah, so we know in this region, we're on a knife's edge, right? We're on a knife's edge between call and fold. And we know that because we can see we're indifferent. We're calling 25% of the time. King 6 is 2 pair. Filter. Top pair. And so it's gonna have to do with the interaction of where his bluffs are coming from. So we do not want to interfere with his bluffs. So if we were to look at his range, we would see that part of his bluffing region is going to possess a 9, a 10, a 5, and a 4, right? But the king 2 is unblocking his bluffing region.
Isn't deuces bluff as well for him?
Does it induce bluffs for him?
No, he bluffs deuces as well.
I think the argument is that we are unblocking. So he says less twos that he opens, right? He doesn't open as much 2x. I mean, I would imagine if we look at where his bluffing region is. He's got a very significant bluffing region. That's the first thing. Here it is. Queen 8, Queen 7, Queen 5. That's his bluffing region. And because we're blocking that with the queen, the king 7, the king 8, the king 5, we are indifferent because we're blocking bluffs. However, our king 2 is unblocking this bluffing region. And that means we call. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And do you wanna-
So if you ever, when you deep dive into blocker, I don't know how much it applies to real life, but it just comes down to interactivity. How does my range interact with his range? Does it interfere or does it not interfere with what his bluffing region is? We know his bluffing region comes from that part of the range. We want to unblock it. Sorry, Scotty.
Do we want to finish this off with a non-polarized bet by a less polarized bet by him, like his half pot bet, which I think is 60% instead of his 82, just to see if that changes.
Sure. So what's his most common bet size on this run out so his most common bet size here, when we check, is to check back. Oh, do I have a filter on? River 3, we check. What am I doing wrong, guys? I'm not doing anything wrong, am I? I'm in the right node. We have no
Maybe
filter.
visual glitch.
Maybe it's a
Oh.
glitch. I think he doesn't, this is weird. Bet. Call. 3 here, check. There it is. That was a glitch. Weird. Okay, so the question, okay, so what's his most common bet size? So he does use the B84 11% of the time, which we're seeing. His most common bet size is an overbet, but do we want to see what happens? He really doesn't use a B59, but we can give him that and see what we do.
if it's nothing, don't bother. The results are gonna be too skewed.
Yeah, he doesn't use it very much. He mostly overbets.
Depends
I mean,
when you-
this is, you know, he uses the B84. I chose that size because we just don't face that many overbets on river. In reality, we usually face a B84 or a pot. So that's why I chose this size for the exercise. All right, guys.
Awesome.
I think we're done. I think we've gone 2 hours. Does that sound good to you guys? Was this a good session? Was this helpful?
Sure, then we do,
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was
do
great.
some mark hands.
Yeah, do you want me to stop? You want to cut this into 2 parts?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. Like and subscribe and stuff.
On to the next.
Stop recording.